Live from our Abuja studios. The Presidential Compressed Natural Gas Initiative, PCNGI, has begun enforcing 40% reduction in transport fares by commercial vehicles converted to run on compressed natural gas CNG in Abuja, starting with Area 1 Park. The PCNGI project director, Mr. Michael Oluwagbemi, who announced the implementation of these in Abuja, said the fare reduction program in Abuja said this was part of the federal government's efforts to ease the burden of fuel subsidy removal on Nigerians. According to Mr. Oluwagbemi, over 50% of vehicles at Area 1 Park have already been converted to CNG, with the conversion process continuing. To ensure compliance with the new fare structure, PCNG has established a task force comprising union members and PCNGI officials. My guest is Engineer Michael Oluwagbemi, live in Abuja. He is the program coordinator of the Presidential CNG Initiative, PCNGI. Thank you so much. It's good to see you in Abuja.
Thanks for having me. I was in Lagos
yes.
a week ago.
Yes. Yeah, I think we should start with this. It's real good news.
Yes.
Cutting on fares
yes.
By 40%. I think this is more of what Nigerians would like to hear.
Yes.
The impact of what you've been doing. Tell us more about it.
Yes. So I always try to remind everybody that, of course, Rome was not built in a day. So we are already there are already positives, as it were. People have to understand, even without fare reduction, there's already positive for the country.
Yeah.
When you talk about job creation, when you're talking about investments, when you're talking about opportunities that is created for our young people, we already have positives. But yes, we know that we all want to enjoy lower cost of transportation that's occasioned by the reduction of cost in fueling our vehicles because we are using CNG. But that benefit can only accrue to us when we have about 2 or 3 things happening simultaneously. One, of course, is the fact that you have to have enough cars that are converted.
Yeah.
In the case of this Area 1 Park, we've already had that. We also have to have access to gas because, okay, sometimes it's possible for us to have converted a lot of cars, but if there's no access to gas, then those cars are still being fueled by petrol. And of course, thirdly is that we must have stakeholder buy-in. So we had all of those 3 things in play at the Area 1 Park. We're having those 3 things in play at the airport in Abuja, where we are finalizing for the next stage of fare reduction. We're also going to do the same thing with the NRC station in Ajaokuta as well as Itakpe all the way to Abuja. They're also going to implement this fare reduction because we're already having these 3 things in place.
Yeah.
So you must have not just sufficient number of cars converted running on CNG, you must also have access to the CNG, and then you must have stakeholder buy-in. And that's what we're doing. In the case of Area 1, it's been self-enforced by the NURCW themselves. They are labeling vehicles that are actually running on CNG, at CNG, and those will be the vehicles that you can run on 40% less, and people can know explicitly that these vehicles are going to be, they are running on cheaper fuel.
Wow.
And so I think we can continue to replicate this, but I want to encourage everybody to say, look, we're already having benefits. As a country, with over 40,000 vehicles now that are running on CNG, that means, of course, cleaner air for us. That means, of course, safer transportation for everybody. That also means that the government is able to earn revenue now from gas instead of flaring it. Yeah. So we have to understand that there's already benefits. We are only making the benefits more democratic by, of course, ensuring fare reduction. But it has to be done stage by stage when we have these 3 conditions colliding.
Interesting stuff. I see you are also partnering with a gas company and all of that, trying to make the availability of gas. Well, before we go there, let's also talk about what are you doing with regards to the ride-hailings, like the Uber guys and Bolt guys. Are you doing anything to try to sync them and bring them in?
Yes. So we've started working with them for about 6 months now, but to varying degrees of success. Of course, it's not every pilot that we run that is successful. In the case of those with the ride-hailing cabs, we've been experiencing some challenges in actually getting them to be enforced through the app, right? But we're exploring some other options currently beyond just the foreign apps like Uber and Bolt. We believe there will be other options. There are other options already that have approached us, and I think that we might be able to make appreciable progress in those areas.
Now, enforcement is very important, because when you see things, how do commuters, how do they identify these vehicles so that they know that, yes, I'm supposed to pay less for this?
So labeling. So that's what we are doing here in Abuja, in the Area 1. They're going to be labeled. Also in yes, they will label. Peter and themselves, the Painted Taxi Association of Nigeria, they are also enforcing here in Abuja. They've already written to us that they'll be enforcing significant reduction of fare for vehicles that are running on CNG, and they're doing it through their network. So you're going to do labeling, you're going to have enforcement, and more importantly also is that there has to be, of course, consequences. So we've seen where even commuters themselves are taking the drivers to task when they see them using CNG, and why are you charging me the same amount of fee? And I saw a number of posting on social media to that effect. I think that those are the kind of things that we're going to see. We are seeing more and more people being responsive. Even the taxi driver himself, they tell us all the time that, you know, if I have gas and I've gotten free conversion, I really do not mind ferrying people around for less, because I want this program to be successful. And I think that's the kind of spirit that we want, the kind of patriotic spirit that's supposed to drive this revolution.
Because if one is buying fuel at 20,000 or more before, and now you're buying gas for, say, 5,000 or 4,000 naira,
it's actually it's wider than that. It's actually used to be 50, 55,000. Now you're buying for 5,000. It's almost an 80% reduction.
Wow. So clearly there should be that reduction, obviously.
Yes.
Well, let's look at this issue of the issue around kits. We heard that it's on social media, it's on the newspapers and all of that, that there was an allegation of selling of kits and all of that, which you reacted to. But what really is the story behind this?
No, I think first and foremost we have to, I think we released a statement prior to those allegations that were on some station, that some people were peddling allegations of impropriety against the initiative. We're very clear that first and foremost we know the source of these allegations. We know that those sources are not legitimate. In fact, it's an individual, a group that were penalized for undertaking nefarious activities, and we reported them to security agencies, and those investigations are ongoing. We will not join issues with individuals that are seeking to blackmail the organization, and we're very clear about who those individuals are, and we know them, and we're monitoring them. But with respect to the allegations of, there's a black market for kits, and as a result of that, somehow the organization should stop giving free kits to commercial operators. We're very clear. We are implementing a social program by Mr. President, which is to provide kits to certified commercial operators through the unions, certified by the unions. Of course, we want to make sure that that process is sanitized. We've introduced the use of BVN. We've introduced the use of NIN to ensure that only members of NURTWs, and you can only get one per person, such that you cannot start using your vehicle almost like a mule. So we've tried our best to make sure that the process is clean. Of course, people will still find ways around it. We encourage anybody that has any information, and we've done some enforcement. Even this week and last week, we've arrested some people that would take their kits and go and sell it, and then try to come back to be rekitted, but they don't know that we have this self-checking mechanism around, and we arrested 3 of them last week. And those allegations are legitimate, but it does not mean that because these nefarious activities happen, that the social program should end. All over the world, social programs are susceptible to waste and fraud. But your responsibility as a citizen is not to say that the social programs should end, because you are powerful, you are well taken care of, you are rich. I mean, the gentleman that came on TV said he was one of the largest importers of kits to Nigeria. He's a multimillionaire. But the NURTW member has no source of income. The fuel subsidy has eaten him, and he has a right to benefit from his government. So it doesn't mean that because there's 1 or 2 or 3 cases of waste and fraud, then as a result of that you shut down the social program. What you do is you report the information you have to authorities. Authorities investigate. If authorities don't then investigate, that is when you have a case. If authorities investigate and people are brought to book, then they've done their job. So I think I was loud and clear that as far as we are concerned, we have put our hands on the plow, and we are not looking back. We are not going back to the era of fuel subsidy. We are not going back to the era of putting money in their hands and the pockets of fat cats that pillage the country. We are going and moving forward. We are, yes, stimulating demand by driving free conversion for commercial operators so that they can demand gas. That gas itself is owned by the Federal Republic of Nigeria. We will otherwise have flayed that gas. That gas now becomes revenue. If, as a country today, we're able to convert 1 million vehicles, we'll be using about 230 million scoff of gas a day. That's about 20 to 30 million SCM. That is gas worth almost $30 million, $30 to $50 million a day. That will be revenue to the federal government of Nigeria. That is less money that is going to, of course, to fuel subsidy. That is no money going to fuel subsidy, I mean to say. That is less money going to importation if we are importing any, and maybe we are still. But at the end of the day, it is cleaner environment, more jobs for Nigerians. You just talked about the automotive industry. This week, we are seeing the automotive industry having experienced 3,000% or more growth last year on the back of this program. This program demanded tricycles, buses, vehicles from the automotive industry, be it EV or CNG, and they got patronized. We bought made in Nigerian vehicles. The vehicle that even that the industry is donating to the Mr. President's fleet is made in Nigeria on the Onitsha-Enugu Expressway. That is good for Nigeria. Nigeria is having technicians. We've brought in more than 10,000 technicians that are employed in over 250 convention centers. This time last year, when we rolled out this program, we only had 7 convention centers in Nigeria. Today, we have 251. This time last year, we had less than 200 technicians. We have over 10,000 technicians today. This time last year, those 10,000 technicians that are now enabled are able to demand other activities that is creating indirect jobs, over 90,000 of them in the system. $500 million, over $500 million of direct investment. We're talking about investment in Arete, mini LNG and other for LNG in Ajaokuta. We're talking about investment in the 251 convention centers. We're talking about investment in the over 65 daughter stations that are working right now. It used to be just 11. We're talking about investment in additional 7 mother stations that will be brought on stream on the back of this. We're talking about investment in Greenville, by NIPCO, by NNPC, by AY Shafa, by Bovas. All of these companies are employing people. They're investing. 2 weeks' time, on May 28th, we're going to be in Yola, opening the Greenville LCNG station. That is also going to have 3 convention centers that is going to be working with it. That is jobs. Before I came into this studio, I met the leadership of NURTW in Yola. They're already planning to roll out CNG buses. They are rolling out CNG buses and tricycles in Yola in the next 2 weeks. Those are positives. We are going from just having 19 states active under the program to 20 states as a result of Adamawa being added to the map. And by the end of the year, we should have 30 states added to the map as a result of our work. I'm very proud of this work, but more so I'm proud of the vision of Mr. President, that what he has done and enabled the system. There's nothing we've done to Mr. President for that he has not given to us. He has given us all the support that we need, and more importantly, he's given us the vision. His vision is that Nigeria should be driven by gas, and that this gas should be of benefit to the common man in Nigeria, so that we can ensure that we have safer, cheaper, and more reliable form of transportation. And I think that vision is what we're implementing at the initiative.
I want to take you back to the issue of availability of the gas again. I'm seeing that you're having a conversation. I was saying that before. I think the gas aggregation company of Nigeria.
Yes.
Yeah. So what do you intend to achieve with that conversation? Where are you and what should we expect? Because availability is key.
Sure. So it's not just the conversation, it actually work. So we've been working behind the scenes for the last 1 year. April of last year, let me give you a historical background. The President, through the NMDPRA, approved concessionary gas pricing for the auto CNG sector. Yes, that's an approval. That's the paperwork. It was gazetted, and the NMDPRA released the gas framework pricing. That allowed gas to be priced, number one, in Naira, and also at much lower rates than what is used for GBIs, that's gas-based industries, as well as power. As I think about one equivalent of $1.37 or something like that. But somebody needs to give it effect. So we needed to work with the gas players, the IOCs, the guys that actually provide the gas to the mother station where it is compressed, and then the daughter station pick it up. That's how you get it. So we needed to create a gas market framework, and that's what we're going to launch in the next few weeks. GACN has done a wonderful job behind the scene, working with NMDPRA and NGML and all other key players. That allows us to immediately now have a true gas market for auto CNG. You can set up your station now confidently, knowing that you can go somewhere and request gas X amount, 10,000 SCM a day, for example, if you just built your gas station, say in Enugu or in Adamawa or in somewhere in Katsina, and you know that I will get my gas when I need it, how much I need it. You know the cost of logistics, you can do your planning, and you can invest. So we know that once this gas market comes on stream in the next few weeks, and once we launch this domestic gas market, you can now have a predictive way of securing auto CNG from the upstream players. Because right now, the upstream and midstream players, yes, they have the concessionary gas pricing, but there's no way to access it. This provides you access. And GACN working with us as well as NMDPRA and NGML is making this happen.
So all of the players, I think they're sinking into this. Everyone is in sync and understands the drive. Now, you're eyeing $1.2 billion investment by the end of this year. I was looking at that. That looks like quite ambitious.
Yeah, we did $500 million in the last year. And they say the reward of hard work is more work. So I figured that if I double it a little and push them harder, maybe they should go further for it. At the end of the day, I think that this is a new sector. A lot more people know about CNG today than they did know last year. If they didn't know about it last year and were able to make 500 million, I think we can do $1.2 billion. I'm confident in my team. I have to say that a lot of the success we've recorded in the last 1 year is because of the support that we've had from the team, a very strong, worthy team that is out there working every day all across this country, hitting the ground and pounding the ground. Of course, the support of our board, led by Dr. Zach Adediji. I think ultimately we, as an initiative, we are appreciative that Mr. President has given us, I think, the best team we can ever ask for. That's great.
Let's take a commercial break and forward with this initiative. A lot of achievements, but a lot of work still needs to be done. You agree with me?
Yeah. So three things loom large for us. Number one, infrastructure. So we need to continue to drive investment towards infrastructure. How do we expand this all over Nigeria? 19 states today, we're not satisfied. It needs to be in every single state and the FCT. Our investment in LNG and rate is driving that, but we need more of that. We need to the academic community, both academic and non-academic staff, unions, members can be able to benefit from our discounted conversion program. So we're going to be launching that. That's going to ensure that states like Yobe, states like Jigawa, states like Sokoto, states like even Gombe and Borno and Kano can also join the CNG's trail, because their universities there will benefit from this program in the next 12 to 24 months. Already 6 universities are getting ready. It will be launched here in Abuja on May 29. The Yakubu Gowon University in Abuja is going to be a site. In fact, I was on site. I was looking at the pictures of the site yesterday. It's already deployed, it's being installed. So in 2 weeks' time, they should have gas, and then we should be able to deploy CNG here in the university in Abuja, or Federal University here will benefit, University of Maiduguri will benefit, the Federal University in Yobe will benefit, Gombe will benefit as well. So we are going to have these in 20 universities, and that's, I think, a huge relief for us. And I think it's going to be one of those IMAC, because Mr. President promised the students that he's not just going to give them CNG buses, but he's going to give them CNG infrastructure. And so we're actually doing it. We're fulfilling Mr. President's promise. I look very much to it. And then last but not the least, the manufacturing of CNG kits and cylinders in Nigeria is something that we'll have to key into in view of Mr. President's Buy Nigeria policy. So we are already working with promoters of the CNG Industrial Park project. We're working across agencies with Infraco and the Nigerian Content Development Monitoring Board. We're going to be implementing this program across the 6 geopolitical zones. We're looking at Ajaokuta to be a start. Anambra also, there's an annual CNG industrial park there. There will be CNG sections in NCDMB's own existing industrial parks as well. So I think these will ensure that we can build platforms in Nigeria, equipment in Nigeria, CNG appliances in Nigeria. That's a win-win. Mr. President said Nigeria first, we agree with him. PCNGI is with Mr. President all the way.
You are leading to my next conversation there. I must thank you, Engineer Michael Oluwagbemi. It's really good to have you as a project coordinator of the PCNG initiative of the federal government. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure.
Do enjoy the rest of your day. And it's good to see you again.
Always, all the time.